My gold-digging twin sister has a habit of seducing wealthy, handsome men and then dumping them. Unfortunately, since we look identical, I'm now suffering the consequences. The young heir to the capital's elite society whispers in my ear with a mocking smirk. Charlotte Sherwood, you think you can just take my millions and run? It's not that easy. I clutch my clothes tightly, my voice trembling with distress. I'm not Charlotte. His lips press against mine. I admit I also fancy both money and good looks, but I don't deserve this. Who would have thought that this seemingly cold man actually had eyes everywhere? And he'd go to such extreme lengths to chase after the woman he wants. Ding! This novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. Charlotte, you've ruined my life. I grabbed my phone from the bedside table and started texting that irresponsible woman. Jessica, it's not that I don't care about you. But Ethan Grant is just impossible to break up with. That doesn't mean you can throw me under the bus. If I had any other choice, I wouldn't have done this to you. Rather than pushing myself, it's better to push you. Trust me, Jessie, you can handle this. Handle my foot. But before I could say more, she hung up faster than a rabbit running from a fox. When I tried calling back, I found she'd blocked me. I've heard of people throwing their parents under the bus. But this was the first time I'd seen someone do it to their sister. I thought, if we weren't from the same parents, I would have cursed her entire family tree. What are you doing? Ethan Grant's voice drifted over ominously. I jumped, watching helplessly as he casually took my phone away. You're Ethan Grant, right? The man's smile didn't reach his eyes, his expression dripping with sarcasm. Well, has it been so long you've forgotten your own boyfriend's name? He moved closer until I could feel his breath on my face. Is Miss Sherwood really that forgetful, or just feeling guilty? I shook my head frantically, trying to explain. Listen, I can explain. I'm not Charlotte, Charlotte's my sister. I'm Jessica. Oh, playing cosplay now, are we? How could I explain this? True, my sister and I look incredibly alike. Even our classmates mix us up, and facial recognition can't tell us apart. We can even use each other's IDs. Wait, ID cards. I have my ID. I can prove I'm not Charlotte. I quickly pulled it out, only to freeze in shock. Because there on the ID card was clearly written, Charlotte Sherwood. Why did I have my sister's ID? Where was mine? Ethan glanced down briefly, letting out another dismissive laugh. Charlotte Sherwood, what else do you have to say? It's not what you think, let me explain. I didn't know what to say as I watched Ethan's face grow increasingly cold. So Miss Sherwood isn't just a heartbreaker. She's also lost her mind and invented an imaginary twin sister. Well then, since you're ill, we should treat it. Let me help Miss Sherwood remember. He leaned closer to my ear and continued, remember our past together. His warm breath made me shiver, his tone tinged with seduction. Then he wrapped his arm around my waist, pulling me close, and pressed his lips against mine. Ethan Grant. UMMPH. A week has passed in the blink of an eye. I suspect Ethan must be quite idle, probably unemployed. Why else would he not go to work and keep pestering me every day? This won't do. If this continues, he might fall for me. The mess my sister created, I shouldn't be the one dealing with it. I need to escape. Surprisingly, this plan started quite smoothly. For some reason, Ethan hadn't taken any precautions against me leaving. I sneaked out of my room, followed the marble corridor for about 100 yards. Descended several floors via the grand spiral staircase, turned a corner. How massive is this place? He never mentioned his house was a mansion. Though it's a mansion, this is still a crime. I must find a chance to report Ethan's wrongdoings to the police. However, I couldn't help but pause and swallow hard at the sight of the lavish decorations. What was my sister thinking, dumping such a wealthy man? She must have lost her mind. I looked down at my feet, where the floor tiles were immaculate. Though I'm no expert in materials, the crystal-clear glass pieces embedded in the center of each tile caught my attention. I bent down and froze. High-grade diamond inlays in floor tiles? What a waste! Such a waste. Though I must admit, I'd probably do the same if I were rich. I confess I inherited my sister's love for money and luxury. And at this moment, greed got the better of me. Looking at those diamond inlays, I decided I deserved some compensation for my emotional distress. After checking no one was around, I quickly reached down. My attempts to pry it loose proved futile. Just then, footsteps approached from ahead, and I quickly ducked into a nearby corner. That Charlotte is truly awful. She used our young master and then just ran away, such an irresponsible woman. Our young master is such a romantic soul. And when he finally found his first love, she cruelly abandoned him just as he was beginning to experience love. Poor thing. Indeed, these past few years, our young master has been like an abandoned puppy, sitting in his room every night staring at those 200 pounds. I wanted so badly to explain that I wasn't Charlotte Sherwood. I'm Jessica Sherwood. Charlotte is my awful older sister. Just then, a familiar face appeared before me. Oh no, it's Ethan. Charlotte, what are you doing here? I awkwardly scratched my head. I was just going to the bathroom. There's one next to your room. Why did you come down from the third floor to the first? His penetrating gaze seemed to see right through me. I swallowed hard and glanced towards the two cleaners in the distance. I watched as they disappeared faster than rabbits, vanishing from sight in an instant. This is it. I'm done for. I had to think quickly, and came up with a perfectly reasonable and righteous explanation. I needed to stretch my legs. Staying in the room all day gets tiring. Even if you don't get tired, I certainly do. Ethan's evasive eyes showed a hint of confusion, but he just coughed twice and let it go. Next time, just let me know. Okay. Escape Plan 1 failed. Soon, Escape Plan B was officially put into action. I put on the evening gown Ethan had prepared for me. An elegant gold floor-length dress with delicate silver embroidery on the hem. To be honest, I'm quite weak-willed. Seeing such a beautiful dress, my anger instantly melted away. All thoughts of illegal detention and restricted freedom vanished from my mind. Only one thought remained. I want more. And my wish came true. I stared at the dazzling array of jewels and precious stones, my heart racing with desire. How much could these fetch on a resale website? Ethan was incredibly generous. If you behave well tonight, these will all be yours. Sometimes, I waver because of material things. Should I still call the police? After all, Ethan was offering so much. No, one shouldn't compromise their principles for mere pennies. Unless it's pounds we're talking about. I'll still report him, but I'll keep the gifts too. After all, it's only fair compensation for emotional distress. Having convinced myself, I contentedly accompanied Ethan to the evening gala. But I still couldn't understand why he would bring me along a potential loose cannon. Wasn't he worried I might cause a scene? I heard this gala was hosted by Ethan, though it was supposedly to strengthen business partnerships. It felt more like Ethan's personal peacocking display. Standing there, Ethan had not only women flocking around him but men as well. Quite the crowd pleaser. At that moment, he was like a proud flamingo, tilting his head as he raised his glass, occasionally giving haughty nods. Those bright eyes paired with that black suit. Oh dear, the more I looked. Once certain images formed in my mind, they refused to leave. So much so that I didn't even notice the mocking voice beside me. Hey! Are you listening to me? The woman's angry voice pierced my eardrums, making me realize another proud peacock was standing next to me. Huh? My deer-in-headlights expression made the woman's lips twitch, as she looked me up and down suspiciously. After a while, she finally spoke with an air of superiority. So you're Ethan's new flame? My lips twitched, showing no respect. Listen to yourself, you sound rather jealous. You. The woman's face instantly turned red. You're clearly just some uncultured nobody. I don't know what Ethan sees in you, wearing all that jewelry like that. I didn't want this either. How did he choose me? Because of my sister, of course. Did you think it was for me? As for all the jewelry, of course I had to wear it all. If I managed to escape, I'd regret not taking even one piece. So, I wore everything Ethan gave me that could be worn. And what couldn't fit, I sewed a hidden pocket into the dress and stuffed it all in. Ethan and I grew up together, we're practically childhood sweethearts. The woman droned on in my ear. Then why aren't you two together? I asked sincerely, but her eyes welled up. You don't think you can act so brazenly just because you're Ethan's new fancy. Once he gets bored of you, he'll naturally marry me. I grew anxious, afraid she'd misunderstand. You've got it wrong. I meant, since you're childhood friends, please help convince Ethan to let me go. I meant every word of that. To my surprise, the woman burst into tears and ran to find Ethan. Shortly after, Ethan approached me, his face expressionless. What did you say to Bella? Nothing much, I just sincerely wanted her to be with you. Don't know why she started crying. Ethan's face darkened, and the temperature around us seemed to drop. Charlotte! My affairs are none of your business. Why are you getting angry out of nowhere? You seem to enjoy playing matchmaker, why don't you become a professional one? That's ridiculous, how dangerous would that be in this day and age? Wait, you don't like her? Ethan finally calmed down a bit. No, I don't. But she said you were childhood sweethearts and that you'd marry her. We merely knew each other as children. Marriage? That's just her fantasy. How can you be so gullible? Now, you have a new task. Look, I'm not your servant. Complete it and I'll give you £1,000,000. Please do tell, boss. Help me discourage her. That might be difficult. Though for £1,000,000, I could certainly try to think of something. I have an idea. My eyes lit up eagerly. What is it? Let's take some romantic photos and videos together. Once she sees how close we are, maybe she'll give up. My eyes brightened. Brilliant idea. At that moment, Bella Lambert sat in the corner with reddened eyes. I nervously approached her. Seeing me, she shot me a cold glare. What do you want? Well, I wanted to show off my relationship. How could I say such a cruel thing to such a sweet girl? I decided to take an indirect approach. You know, there are plenty of fish in the sea. Why fixate on just one? Bella's eyes turned frighteningly dark. But I didn't notice. There are so many eligible men out there. As they say, when one door closes, another opens. With your wealth, you could have anyone you want. Shut up. Bella broke down crying. Suddenly feeling guilty, I said, don't cry. Let me tell you the truth, Ethan forced me into this. You don't know what that bastard has done behind closed doors. He's not worth your tears. Shut up. Bella shouted even louder. Say one more word and I'll report you to the police for slander. My eyes widened at her words. The police? Perfect. Thank goodness for Bella coming to my rescue. Although £1,000,000 was a lot, I valued my life more. At worst, I could sell all the gifts Ethan gave me secondhand. Sorry, Bella. Tears came easily to my eyes. Please don't call the police. If you do, Ethan will hate me and definitely break up with me. Bella, tears still in her eyes, suddenly stopped crying. A faint smile played at her lips. As expected, 10 minutes later, the police arrived. It's her. She's slandering Ethan. Bella repeated everything I'd said to everyone, occasionally glancing at Ethan with growing satisfaction. You're the one accused of slander? As if seeing my savior, I grabbed the officer's arm, crying earnestly, yes, that's me. Everyone wore an expression of disbelief. Bella froze, completely unprepared for my admission. Why did you spread these rumors? They're not rumors, it's all true. I turned to look at Ethan, pointing at him as everyone watched in shock. Ethan Grant held me against my will. Gasps filled the room. Bella's eyes reddened with anger. What are you saying? But Ethan just smiled, pulling me into his arms with a cunning look in his eyes. Charlotte dear, what are you talking about? He turned to the police. This is my girlfriend Charlotte Sherwood. She has dissociative identity disorder. I apologize for the trouble. The officer clearly didn't want to offend this capital socialite. But proper procedures had to be followed. Do you have any evidence? Seeing the officer waver, I quickly protested. My name is Jessica Sherwood, not Charlotte. Can you prove that? I have proof here. Ethan's voice came from beside me as he handed over a card. This is my girlfriend Charlotte Sherwood's ID. The officer carefully checked it, then looked at me with furrowed brows. Anything else to say? Charlotte is my twin sister. We must have mixed up our IDs. The officer seemed conflicted again. The story sounded absurd, but it wasn't impossible. Charlotte, did you forget to take your medication today? Ethan opened his phone gallery and showed it to the officer. It contained several intimate photos of us together, along with videos of me calling him darling for that £1,000,000. Me, what the hell? Everyone, oh. Officer, these young people and their games. Bella stood there dumbfounded, staring at the photos and videos of us being affectionate, crying as she called me a liar. Charlotte, it wasn't enough to mock me behind my back. You used me to call the police just to show off your relationship in front of everyone. You despicable person, how could I have believed your lies? Even I, the victim, felt wronged. Meanwhile, Ethan wore a triumphant smile. Well played, Ethan Grant. You've made an enemy today. The officer looked at me, and though there was some disapproval in his eyes, he remained respectful given that I was Ethan's girlfriend. Right then, remember to take your medication regularly. We'll be on our way. Wait. Before I could finish, Ethan silenced me with a kiss, trapping all my words. Everyone present got an eyeful of PDA, while Bella completely broke down and ran away crying. I watched the police leave, my heart sinking. It's over. Escape Plan B, failed. Escape Plan C, ready to execute. I dressed up glamorously and deliberately straddled Ethan's lap, my delicate hands resting on his neck. Ethan, I've made up my mind. I want to be with you forever. Have you lost your mind? I softened my voice even more, pressing myself against his chest. You are so handsome and wealthy. I was foolish to leave you before, I was so stupid. Your voice is giving me goosebumps. Darling, don't you know my heart? My entire being exists only for you. Do your parents know you can talk such nonsense? Ethan, when you say that, my heart hurts. Oh, it really hurts. Just want to run away, don't you? Assistant Shaw, take her for a jog outside. The heart won't hurt once it gets pumping. Plan C, failed. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore and lost it. I grabbed the vase from the table and held it above my head. Ethan Grant. Let me go, or I'll destroy everything. Ethan simply pulled out a card. Here's £100,000, spend it as you like. Come back tonight and I'll add another £200,000. My hand holding the vase froze, and I slowly put it back in its place. Well, I suppose we could negotiate. I quickly took the card, beaming with joy. I could have sworn I saw Ethan's lips curl into a slight smirk. Feels like he's got me figured out. Oh well, loving money isn't something to be ashamed of. During these days of confinement, my temper has grown exponentially, instantly triggering revenge shopping. In less than a day, I spent the entire £100,000 and still owed the boutique £80,000. Miss Sherwood, we don't offer credit here. I sighed, reluctantly about to put the clothes back. The next moment, my hand was stopped by a warm palm. Ethan? Ethan expressionlessly pulled out his card. Charge it. Beep. B-boss. The staff member looked terrified. I stared at Ethan in surprise. You own this shop? Ethan cleared his throat and adjusted his tie. For a moment, I thought I saw a hint of pride on his cold face. To be precise, I own these 2 streets. I was shocked. But more than that, I was regretful. So all my shopping just went from his left pocket to his right pocket. Well played, Ethan Grant, you calculating man. Next time, I'll shop on a different street. Back at his house, I angrily shut the door, not letting Ethan take a single step in. Don't bother me unless necessary, I'm going to sleep. Ethan opened my door with just one sentence. Don't you want that £200,000? Creak. I reached out my hand and quickly received the same bank card Ethan had given me earlier. I've added another £200,000 to it. I stared at that generous face, momentarily mesmerized. This man might be mental, but he looks so handsome when he's giving money. After that, I played nice for a few days, and £300,000 was deposited into my account daily. In less than 10 days, my secret savings reached £3 million. I believed one shouldn't be too greedy. For an ordinary girl like me, £3 million would last a lifetime if I spend it wisely. Ethan, I'm out of here. Next time, look for my sister, and please don't mistake the wrong person again. I took my £3 million and tried to live freely. However, I discovered something terrible. My ID was still with Ethan, making it impossible to leave the city by train. Well, I'll enjoy my freedom while I can. Finally, one day, I encountered my wretched sister who had set me up at a pub. She was holding a shy young man, smirking. "Let me take care of you?" "Charlotte!" I rushed over furiously. "How dare you? You've ruined my life, and here you are, living it up." To my surprise, Charlotte showed no remorse. Her face identical to mine, looking utterly punchable. For the first time, I felt ashamed of sharing the same face with her. "You say I'm living it up, but aren't you here too? Oh, you're here for fun too, right?" "No. I knew you were a horrible person. I came to confront you at the pub. We came from the same womb. I know exactly what you're thinking. Stop fooling yourself." I was speechless. "Besides, I did this for your own good. You've made money these days, haven't you? Ethan must have given you quite a sum?" I snorted. "It's all right, £3 million. What?" Charlotte's expression was shocked. I thought she found it too much, but I was wrong. Has Ethan Grant gone bankrupt? Only £3 million? He gave me 30 million at least. Apparently, I wasn't worthy. At that moment, I felt a strange sense of indignation. We were born from the same parents, wearing the same face. Why did I get so much less? Wait a minute. £30 million? I stared suspiciously at Charlotte's guilty eyes. "Why would Ethan give you £30 million? LOL, nothing, you must have heard wrong." "Charlotte!" I grabbed her arm, preventing her escape. "That day when we drank together and I passed out, did you plan it with Ethan? And then switched my ID?" No. Charlotte grew more nervous. That expression confirmed it. But something wasn't right. If they had planned it together, Ethan should have known I had a twin sister. Why didn't he believe a word about my sister when I mentioned her? There must be something more to this. Could it be he wanted to harvest my organs? I broke into a cold sweat, my spine stiffening, my scalp tingling. "Charlotte! You sold your younger sister for money." "I had my reasons. I was thinking about your happiness." "What do you mean thinking about my happiness? Explain yourself." Footsteps approached, and the next moment, I saw Ethan's butler running towards us with others. Looking at Charlotte's increasingly guilty face, I understood something. Just as the butler stopped, I pointed at Charlotte. "Quick, my sister has escaped." Charlotte never expected me to act faster. She frantically defended herself. "No, I'm not. She's the one you're looking for. She's Charlotte Sherwood." "I'm not." With our back and forth, the butler became confused and decided to take us both. Once again, I stood before Ethan, my heart racing as I tried to maintain my composure. Before Charlotte could speak, I quickly said, "This is my sister Charlotte Sherwood. Do you remember our agreement? £30 million. The moment those words left my mouth, my body tensed up, afraid my guess might be wrong. However, when Ethan nodded in agreement, I finally let out a sigh of relief. "Sir, she's Charlotte Sherwood." "I'm Jessica Sherwood." Ethan let out a cold laugh, his eyes sweeping over both of us before settling on my sister. "Take her to the room to rest." My sister's heart-wrenching screams made me shudder. I hope they won't hurt her. Thankfully, Ethan hadn't recognized me. But she's still my sister after all. Although what she did was despicable, but... Before I could finish my thought, a cold voice reached my ears. "You've been quite hard to find." I looked up suddenly. "What?" Ethan sat on the sofa with a sardonic smile, crossing his right leg over his left. "Tell me, What have you been doing with my £3 million? What are you talking about? Still pretending? Ethan fixed me with a penetrating stare, his deep eyes seeming to see right through me. Impossible. Even our parents couldn't always tell my sister and me apart, how could Ethan? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm Jessica, not Charlotte. To my surprise, he sneered. Who you are doesn't matter. What matters is that you're the person I've been looking for. Though I didn't understand what he meant, I knew my denials were useless. I wondered how he could mix us up when he'd spent more time with my sister than with me. How did you figure it out? Ethan walked to my side with interest, a smile playing on his lips. Because you have a unique quality about you. A unique quality? My eyes lit up with some expectation. What quality? Greedy for money and lustful. I knew it! Nothing good ever comes from his mouth. I swear I'll never trust Ethan Grant again. Tell me, how much money would it take for you to stay? Ethan, human dignity can't be measured in money. Pine 100 million? Only if you offer more. Well, once again, I've been defeated by Ethan's money. Never mind, let him think I'm Charlotte. After all, my sister doesn't like that name anyway. Fortunately, I'm falling more and more for Ethan. But it's definitely not because of money. I just love his generous spirit and that face that could charm anyone to death. However, whenever I remember that I'm not really Charlotte, but rather a replacement after Ethan's mistaken identity, my heart always feels a bit sour. Being a substitute isn't so bad, we have the same face anyway. Well, I finally managed to convince myself. Our wedding was set for 3 months later. As I passed by Ethan's office, I heard a woman's voice inside. My body tensed up, trembling uncontrollably. Could it be, the inevitable has finally come? I stood at the door, hesitating to enter. Just as I was about to turn away, I decided to investigate. Young Master Grant, when will I receive the final payment for all the help I've given you? I'll have Assistant Shaw transfer it to you shortly. Brilliant, thank you, young master. The woman's laughter grew brighter, while my frown deepened. That voice was so familiar. Who was it? More laughter came from inside. I'm leaving my sister Jessica in your care, you must treat her well. Honestly, if you hadn't been so devoted, I would never have told you. I'll definitely take good care of her, don't worry. Ethan's response was rather calm. And my mind exploded. The woman inside was my sister Charlotte. And she openly admitted that I was her sister Jessica. Most importantly, Ethan seemed to have known all along, showing no surprise. What was going on? Was I the only one being kept in the dark? You still have that £200 note? As soon as Charlotte finished speaking, I burst into the office. Glancing at Charlotte's startled face, I locked eyes with Ethan. Jessie. I need to go. Charlotte quickly slipped away, leaving just Ethan and me in the spacious room. You knew who I was all along, didn't you? Ethan's face showed a rare hint of unease as he quickly walked to my side. Yes. Why? Am I just some puppet for you all to play with? Ethan frowned slightly, his refined features hiding urgency. Jessica, it's not like that, let me explain. Ethan Grant. Enough. My tears burst forth, yet they couldn't wash away the bitterness in my heart. I knew I wasn't my sister's substitute, but I still couldn't feel happy. To him, I was just a fool to be toyed with. In your eyes, am I just a plaything you can manipulate as you please? I spoke through tears, my heart knotted with pain. No, Jessica, listen to me. I won't listen. I covered my ears, shaking my head with a bitter laugh. But the next second, Ethan grabbed one of my ears and pulled it close to his mouth. Ouch! Don't pull, it hurts. Ethan helplessly spoke into my stubborn ear, desperate to pour every word into my brain. Jessica Sherwood, you heartbreaker. I'm the one who's been played. What? My tears dried instantly, my eyes suddenly showing childlike confusion. Though I didn't know exactly what had happened, his words immediately sparked my curiosity. Ethan's face was rather resentful, like an abandoned husband, glaring at the heartless woman before him. 5 years ago, didn't you sleep with a man at a hotel? I widened my eyes, exclaiming in disbelief, "How do you know?" "Wait, that look isn't right." "And this? You couldn't be?" I awkwardly pursed my lips, taking 2 embarrassed steps back. That day 5 years ago, my beloved dog had just passed away. It was my golden retriever who had been with me since childhood, like family. I went to a pub to drown my sorrows. And somehow took a fancy to a handsome server. I thought he was working in that profession. So I waved him over for a chat worth a tenner. Who would have thought we'd end up sharing a bed? I'm sorry. But I felt I couldn't let him give his emotional labor for nothing, so I left £200 as a tip. I left while he was still sleeping off the drink. But I swear, I didn't do anything to him, we just literally slept in the same bed. After all, with alcohol, unless you're completely drunk, you're actually more clear-headed than usual. But I never imagined this man would hold such a grudge, searching for me for 5 years. But that night, I really didn't do anything to you. Ethan looked quite aggrieved. That doesn't matter, we shared a bed, what about my reputation? Since we slept together, you have to take responsibility. I helplessly held my head. So, when you accidentally found my sister, you conspired with her. Yes. Ethan declared righteously. Well, by the end of the argument, I realized it was my fault. I didn't dare show any temper at all. Instead, it was Ethan who got upset, and I spent quite a while comforting him. 3 months later, our wedding was held as scheduled, very grand indeed. Business tycoons and entertainment celebrities came to witness. I saw them whispering and occasionally looking my way. I knew they were discussing me. But I didn't care about their opinions. And so, my life with Ethan continues, sweet and beautiful. From Ethan's perspective. That night at the pub, I saw you waving at me. I thought you were a business partner. But when I got a clear look at you, you were slightly tipsy. And I couldn't take my eyes off you. We drank ourselves into oblivion and talked all night. That evening, I realized my heart had already been captured. But Jessica, you dismissed me with just £200. Day and night, I stared at that £200 note, sighing. I remember clearly how you said that one day when you made it big. You'd have your house floors inlaid with emeralds. I thought it was a brilliant idea, so I had my floors redone when I got home. Shame you weren't there to see it with me. Until one day, I met someone who looked exactly like you. That's when I learned she was your sister. Thank heavens for giving me another chance to find you. So, I spent millions getting information about your personality and preferences from your sister. She only gave me 5 words. Greedy for money and lustful. I was stunned, but soon, I smiled. Greedy for money and lustful, that's perfect for me to work with. However, after being angry for so many years, I needed a small revenge. Your sister and I conspired to stage a case of mistaken identity. Heh, you'd never guess that I knew you were Jessica Sherwood all along. Although finding you made me happy. Still, I needed to make you fall for me, so you wouldn't slip away again. I hosted parties, dressed impeccably, all to showcase my charm and wealth. You're lustful, aren't you? Look how handsome I am. You're greedy, aren't you? See how many companies are begging to work with me. Ha! How could you resist? When you tried to run, I threw money at you. Over 100,000s at a time, careful not to overwhelm you like last time. But I never expected your appetite to be so small, running off with just £3 million. When I heard that, I couldn't help but twitch. Jessica, your sister took £50 million including the final payment, and you, £3 million? Satisfied? Compared to your sister's greed, you're an amateur. But thankfully, your sister earned her money by helping me find you again. This time, I won't let you slip away from my life.